All right, this is lesson 14, and we're all going to do a peer review so we can support each other in this poetry that we're writing. So I'm going to walk you through the steps. The first thing you're going to do is check out our slides and open up lesson 114 and check out the steps. So it says to select the draft you want to revise and then revise the poem. And then we're going to submit a link to our final poem on Padlet. Those are the overview of the 3 big tasks of today. So I'm going to walk you through how to set yourself up for a peer review. Select the poem you want to revise. It could be lesson 110, the Where I Live poem, 111, the Celebration poem, or 112, the Pandemic poem. And you're going to open up the poetry peer review document that's attached to this assignment. It looks like this, and follow the instructions in yellow. So first thing it says is copy and paste the poem you want to revise here. So I want to revise my Raised By poem that I kind of wrote as a tribute to my uncles. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it into the document. And then I'm going to share this with a partner in my response group. So if you're in a group of 4, you can pair up 2-2. If you're in a group of 3, you're going to want to work out a trio. So let's say person A is Sally, person B is Joe, and person C is Tammy. Sally's going to share with Joe, Joe's going to share with Tammy, and Tammy's going to share with Sally. So figure out the sharing of your document with one person in the response group so that everybody's got somebody to review their poem. And then you as the author are done. What you're going to want to do is go into your Google Drive and go to Shared with Me, and you should see a poetry review document from the person who you are supposed to review. So it'll be someone else's document with their name in the front here, but it'll say poetry peer review. And what you're going to do is you're going to follow the steps in green. So you're going to write your name in, you're the reviewer. And then you're going to follow these steps. So first it says mark 2 lines we really love using the comment feature. So let's say I really enjoyed the line in this poem about critter catching pants, right? My uncle always had these special pants he wore when it was time to go hunting. So I might say, this is a great line, perfect image, right? Like a really clear image. So I'm using the comment feature. I'm finding 2 parts of the poem I really love. And then I'm going to mark 2 places where I think they could make their imagery even stronger. So maybe there's an image, but it's lacking some sensory detail. Or if you as the reader have a question about what they're talking about, then that's an indication that they need to make it stronger. So maybe the reader of my poem might have a question about when our parents worked late, right? Like maybe I could add some sensory detail about like, what time did you eat? Did your brother always cook? Was the food always burnt, right? So more detail here. So I'm marking 2 places where they could add some more detail. And then I'm going to look for any figurative language, metaphors or similes, and I'm going to highlight it. And if it's missing, if there isn't any, I'm going to put a comment of where they might add it. So my poem doesn't have any metaphors or similes yet, but I think a good place that I might try to add it is when I'm talking about my brother protecting me, right? So I might say metaphor or simile here, something about him protecting me. So I'm going to put a suggestion if they don't have a metaphor or simile. And then there's 2 more steps I'm going to take. The 3rd step is I'm going to read the poem out loud to myself and underline places where they could add more rhythm. So a lot of the rhythm of poetry is achieved with line breaks or punctuation. So using periods and commas to slow things down, or entering onto a whole new line so that the reader can take a breath. So I'll show you an example of that. This last stanza, raised by, well, you might as well jump off a cliff and get it over it. Grab you by the neck and steer you right, teasing because it's easier than saying I love you kind of men. So this is a phrase that my uncle used to say all the time, so that's why it's in quotations. But I think that it makes it's a little awkward read aloud. So I'm gonna suggest to myself that I go back and play around with the punctuation here by underlining it. So this is a place where it's a little awkward and could use a little bit more spacing or phrasing so that when I read it, it's not like a bunch of words are rushing out of my mouth. Well, you might as well jump off a cliff and get over it, grab you by the neck and steer you right. It's just still awkward and needs a little going over, slowing down. And then the last thing you're going to do as the reviewer is you're going to think about their purpose. Why do you think they wrote this poem? What mood or message are they trying to convey? And you're just going to write your answer in here. And that really is a great reflection back to the author of what's clear and what's not clear. So if someone told me I was writing this poem because the men that raised me were mean, right? Because of this line, grab you by the neck and steer you right, I would know, oh, I've got to revise that. They weren't actually mean. They were sort of a tough love kind of crew. And so the reflection back of my purpose by the reader helps me know if I've been successful or not. And then when you're done, you're going to chat that person in your response group, see if they're done. And you guys will verbally share some of the things you went over. So you don't want somebody to just receive a document with a bunch of comments without having a second to chat about it. And if you're not sure what to talk about, you can just share one thing you loved and one thing to work on. And then once you and your reviewer have met, you turn off your camera, turn off your microphone, and you go revise your own poem based on what they suggested. And the last step I'm going to show you just while you're still here on this video is there is a document attached to today's assignment that says final draft poem. So you're going to work on that poem based on the revisions they made. You can work on it in this document because you've got a lot of suggestions. And then when you're really happy with the final copy, you're going to just copy and paste it again, just like we did at the start of class, and put it in the final document right here, final draft poem. So open up that document, copy and paste your final version in. And the very last step, because we're going to share these and kind of do a little celebration of your writing so far tomorrow, is you're going to go to our Padlet. You're going to create a post using this pink button right here. Your name will go at the top. You're going to write the poem, so it could be your raised by, that's the one that I'm going to do. It could be your where I live, or it could be your pandemic poem, whatever poem you chose. And then where it says link, you're going to put the link to your final document. So this final draft doesn't have anything in it yet, but I'm just going to show you for an example what to do. So you're going to go to share. And you don't want anybody messing with your poem, so you want them to be able to view it. But I just change it just in case to anyone with the link, because sometimes people are not logged in and their Westland Wilsonville email. So anyone with the link can view. Done. Oops, sorry, before you say done, copy the link, and then that's what you're going to put in your post, like this. Yep, so when you'll know you're done when it looks something like this. There's a document linked into your poem. And that allows other people to click on your poem, read it, right? There's nothing there yet, but, and then tomorrow we're going to be adding comments and appreciations to each other's poems. All right, I'll leave this here as a sample for you and have some really fun times reviewing and supporting one another.